What's up, guys? Welcome to Nolan Talks. It's been a while since I last talked to you guys. The other day I dropped a tweet saying how Kayshon Boutte has a chance to be the best LSU wide receiver ever. And, the more I thought about it after I tweeted, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do some research on it and kind of prove my case because I think Kayshon has a very strong case, for him to be the best LSU wide receiver ever. So I kind of pulled up his stats. He had 45 receptions for 735 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he averaged 16 yards per catch, that's special. He's definitely a yak receiver, which is yards after catch. I mean, 16.3 yards after catch is great, and he's only a true freshman, so that number might get even better, once he's in a weight room. But essentially, I felt like there's one thing about him that's going to make him stand out from LSU's past receivers, and that is modern day offenses. He's going to put up great numbers. I mean, the numbers I just read off to you guys, that was in 10 games, and that's in a COVID riddled season. That's pretty impressive. He's in a modern day offense where we're going to run these, quick passes where teams don't really run the ball. Running the ball is now like a main priority. It used to be run the ball, third down, you pass the ball, but that's literally not the case for college football anymore. And just football in general, it is throw the ball, and, maybe 4th and 1, you'll run the football, or, you pass the ball to set up the run almost, and that's just kind of how it is now. So I think modern day offenses are going to help him out significantly. I mean, I pulled up some of LSU's old, statistical leaders for receivers, and they had good numbers, but I mean, it just shows you the signs of the time. I mean, there was some numbers where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a season rather than a career at LSU back in the day. And also kind of, this is the best quarterback room that LSU has ever had. We have, Max Johnson, Miles Brennan, TJ Finley, Garrett Nussmeier's coming in. This is the best LSU quarterback room we've had ever. So, he's just going to go out there and ball, and LSU quarterbacks are going to find him, and he's a lucky guy. So he definitely has that advantage that previous LSU receivers didn't have. Obviously, the 2019 season with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Thad Moss, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, those guys they had a pretty solid quarterback, so they were lucky. But as far as Kayshon goes, I mean, he's got multiple options at quarterback, so he'll be fine. He has 2 more years to prove it. He was a true freshman this past season, and he put up good numbers, and he's only going to get better, and he has 2 more years to get better and to put up better numbers and have a big impact for LSU and the SEC and college football in general. So when I was doing some research for this, I pulled up the post-game Ole Miss where they kind of interviewed Kayshon, and they asked him a question about, his thoughts on the game and his performance for that game, because that was a game where he broke the SEC record. He had 308 yards for 3 touchdowns, and he had 14 catches on it. And he kind of talked about how he didn't expect this to happen to him so early in his career. Terrace Marshall opted out, Jamar Chase opted out, so he was kind of like, I was kind of thrown into the situation, and, he balled out. And so that made me think, I was like, okay, if this guy did that as a true freshman, like, we have 2 more years of this, 2 more years of this dominant performance that he's going to keep continuing to have for LSU football. So I was really, that made me kind of got some chills, when I heard him say that. I was like, dang, he didn't really expect to be here, and now that he's at that level, he's going to be special to watch, these next 2 years. And we just hired a new offensive coordinator, new passing game coordinator, and Coach O in the press conferences, he kind of talked about how he wants our offense to be exactly like that 2019 offense, and how he hired those 2 guys, Jake Peets and DJ Magus, to install that. LSU was so dominant with the slot fades, those slant routes, those little slip screens to Jamar Chase, and that's what we were special at. I think that what's going to be so beneficial to Kayshon is that he's going to be kind of in that role. He's going to be in the slot all the time, running those slot fades with that one-on-one coverage. Whoever's at quarterback, all they're going to have to do is just throw it up to him, and he'll make a play on the ball. His speed is elite. This guy is. He might be one of the fastest receivers LSU's had in, man, quite some time. I mean, this guy can fly. He's definitely faster than Jamar Chase. He's faster than Justin Jefferson. This guy, he's got track speed. He's a track star, honestly. What I want to see him get kind of more involved in was like the slip screens and those little, bubble screens behind the line of scrimmage. I feel like that's just, and you got to do that with the spread offense. Get the ball in your best players' hands and let them make a play. And also in that Ole Miss interview, you talked about how the key to yards after catch is, first off, securing the catch. I think this guy knows. He knows the first step in making plays is you got to catch the ball first. So, yeah, running like those little short screens to him. That's going to get his numbers up. That's going to make him have a lot of yards after catch. He's going to have a lot of receptions on the year if LSU kind of involves him more in that game. We did that, in the 2020 season, but he's going to be our number one receiver now. So we got to get the ball in his hands, and the more we do that, I think it's going to be awesome to see. I mean, we can all call it now. If I was a betting man, I'd put down money that he's going to wear number 7 at some point in his career. Probably not this next season. I think that's going to go to Derek Stingley, but Kayshon will wear number 7 his junior year. He's a 3-year player. He's not going to stay for his senior year. He's too good for that. I mean, he's going to be a first round pick. This guy's a stud. So I kind of broke down the 3 categories of like how I think determines being the best receiver in LSU history. First off is statistics. So I pulled this up because I was very interested actually in LSU statistical leaders, and I looked up the record for the all-time touchdowns. So number 1 is Dwayne Bowe. He had 26 touchdowns in 4 years at LSU. And number 4, it's tied with Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall. They had 23 touchdowns, okay? Jamar Chase did that in 2 years, and Terrace Marshall did that in 3 years. So that kind of just shows you, like I said earlier, the signs of the times. Dwayne Bowe was a 4-year player, played back in the day where passing the football wasn't, it was run the football essentially. So passing the football was, a third down thing. They didn't do that all the time. And he put up 26 touchdowns in his career. Jamar Chase was here for 2 years and he had 23 touchdowns, and he didn't even play his junior year, and he barely played his freshman year. Basically all those he had 20 of those touchdowns came in one season. That was the 2019 season, which was obviously very special. But so I did the math. So Kayshon has 5 touchdowns. And so 26 minus 5 is 21 touchdowns. So essentially he would need 10.5 touchdowns or 11 touchdowns these next 2 seasons to break that record. And I also added, so there's 13 games in a season, barring injury. That's 26 more games that Kayshon's going to play for LSU. And so essentially he needs 21 more touchdowns. That's about 1.2 touchdowns a game. That's definitely something he's going to get. That's a touchdown a game. Obviously, he's going to have some games where he has multiple touchdowns, 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4. You never know. So I think that goal for the all-time touchdowns for LSU is totally attainable. The single season touchdown record, Jamar Chase had 20, Jefferson had 18, and Terrace Marshall had 13. That all came from the 2019 season. Getting 20 touchdowns in a season is... I don't think he could get that. Maybe he could. I mean, I never thought I'd ever see an LSU receiver get 20 touchdowns in a season, and Jamar Chase did that. So that is what it is. I think he can get over 13, maybe touch 18, but getting 20, 20 is like, that's hard to do. So that record, I would probably have to doubt that record, but you never know. But I think he can get definitely over 13, maybe more towards the 18 record where Jefferson was kind of at. So yeah, there's that. Then there's the all-time yards record. So The number one all-time yards record for LSU is with Josh Reed, and he had 3,001 yards in 3 years at LSU. So the second was 2,700, and the third was 2,600. So I also did some more math. I'm not great at math, but I did some more. Kayshon Boutte had 735 receiving yards in 10 games at LSU. So I did 3,001 minus 735, and that's 2,266 more yards Kayshon would need to tie that record. So, like I did the math earlier, I did 13 games this season. That's barring we don't make a bowl game or SEC championship or college football playoff. That's 13 times 2 is 26. So I took 2,266 divided by 26, and I got 87 yards per game that Kayshon would need to tie that record. So that's something that's totally attainable. I mean, if he has one game of 200 yards, I mean, that sets him up significantly. And 87 yards a game come on, that's totally attainable for a player like Kayshon at LSU. I mean, I think that could totally happen. And just easy math. It's 1,133 yards per game. In a modern day offense, that is totally attainable. That's something that I think he's going to get. And statistically, he's going to break almost every record at LSU, and that's going to put him as far as being the best LSU receiver ever. That's going to be up there. But the last thing I kind of want to talk about where it's Jamar Chase had is his impact on LSU football. So, these next 2 years, can he win a Blitnikoff Award? Can he win 2 in a row? I think already he's the best receiver in the SEC coming back. In the country, we'll have to see. He's definitely going to be up there. Can he win an award like the Blitnikoff? Can he lead his team to an SEC title, national championship? Can he win a Heisman? It's going to be stuff like that that's going to determine his impact at LSU. But as far as statistically, I think he's going to get there. He's going to be the best statistical leader at LSU. But can he win a national championship? Can he leave a lasting impact on LSU? He's going to be a 3-year guy. He's going to be a first round pick. I mean, we can all see that now. But can he do something like that that's going to put him over the top, put him over the edge, and leave him in, that upper echelon of LSU lore, of SEC lore, and, college football lore, So that's what I think, guys. Also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, it's at Nolan Talks. It's NEAUXLAN Talks. Give me a follow, tweet at me, DM me if you guys want to talk about LSU football. I love talking LSU football, so I'd love to hear from you guys. That's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you guys for listening. Give this a share, give this a like, give me a follow on Twitter. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.